Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my Universal Daniel Smith watercolor palette, and we're going to fill in together some of the colors, and I will also tell you which colors have been replaced since the last time I made this palette. And if you're curious what were the initial colors that I have included, then I will leave a link to the video somewhere here. But let's begin. As you can see, for my Daniel Smith, I use this wonderful palette, and I'm often asked where I got it from. And I just bought it at the local store, so I do not have a link, but I do know that it's possible to find them. I think it's Fintech maybe who are making them as well. I'm not quite sure. But I really like this palette as both studio palette because it doesn't take much space, yet there's a very good mixing areas. But it's also great to take it with me when I know I'll be able to paint paintings, especially on a larger scale, as I can also pop in my watercolor brushes right here and then maybe a pencil and I'm good to go. Though I do usually also take with me my pencil case. But all in all, I like this palette very much. And I will be using today, if I'm gonna swatch any of the colors, this Cotman watercolor brush. I think it's great, and I've mentioned this brush in my favorites video. So if you're curious what else I thought were the best art supplies of 2022, then make sure that you watch it. So let's begin. I will remove my brushes from here. And the first color that I really like and that I would like to refill because now it reached the bottom, it's Quinacridone Gold, and it is a wonderful color because it gives this warmth, like if you're mixing the greens, for example, or adding it to the sunset sky. So I'm gonna put it in, and this is a new addition to my palette. I didn't have it before, but many were talking so much about Quinacridone Gold, even though I know that this is not the original one because the pigment is not made anymore. But oh well, it's good enough for me. I didn't know any other, so. And I forgot something to mix it with, just a second. And this is what I use to mix my paint. As you can see, it's rather thick, which is fine. Yeah, I'll put it here for now. And I'll wipe my pen. So the next color is the one from the Daniel Smith Essential set. I believe it's Hansa Yellow Medium. And I don't have any particular feelings towards this color. I just needed a mix in yellow. So I'm not going to refill it. I did not buy a new tube because I'm not a fan of this color. I mean, it's not that I completely dislike it, but I do not think that this is the best yellow that you could use for mixing. And when this pan gets empty, I'm planning to refill it with Azo Yellow that, at least in my opinion, gives much clearer mixes. The next color is also from the Daniel Smith Essential set, and this is New Gamboge, and I like it very much. I'm not a big fan of the consistency because as soon as you add just a little bit of water, it becomes really goopy, but I don't know, it's just perfect for sunset clouds, for example, or just wherever you decide to edit. It's a beautiful color, and I think it's difficult to find alternatives in other lines to that. And I'm not going to refill it, though I do have already a new tube of this color, simply because I don't use it that often, so I don't see the need to fill it up to the brim. So the next color is Transparent Pyrrole Orange. And this color has actually replaced another orange that I initially had in my palette. And that one was this Aussie Red Gold. And this is a beautiful color. It's a beautiful orange color. I believe it's also in the set from Jean Haynes, the set for painting flowers, as far as I remember. And it is wonderful. but I really do not like having it in a pan. I found it quite difficult to re-wet, and I just don't like when I need to work to get the pigment on my brush. So I still love it and I would still use it, but just straight from the tube. But so when I decided to replace this orange, I went with this one, which is transparent pyrrole orange from Daniel Smith, and it is a beautiful color. I already have this color in my other palette from Core, you know, the one, the travel palette that I showed you before, and there it works perfectly. But here I just didn't reach out for it that often. So I'm going to replace this color now and get something else instead. So here are my empty pans. And the color I'm going to replace it with, though it's not a one-to-one alternative, but I would really like to include Indian yellow, because when I tried it on the swatch card from Daniel Smith, I was like, this is the most beautiful yellow I've ever seen. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. Okay, I really love the one from, I think it's called Golden Yellow from Memory Blue. And you can check my video with the palette that I made from Memory Blue, because the yellow that they have in their line is actually unique and you cannot find it in any other line, also in Daniel Smith. But from Daniel Smith, I think that Indian yellow is just the most beautiful yellow and it's absolutely incredible. So I'm going to put it in. So beautiful. And of course, some might say that now I have too many yellows in my palette, because that's already third yellow. So maybe I will replace one of them eventually, but it's hard to say because I love Nude and Bosch, so that stays. It's a nice warm yellow. And I'll probably be completely in love with this one when I use it in paintings as well, simply because it is so beautiful. And I still always need a cool yellow because sometimes I need to brighten up some of the colors. So, but we'll see. I'll put it here for now so that it dries, and I will wipe my. But so if you haven't seen Indian yellow before, I mean, you probably did, of course, everything is on YouTube, but I just like this color so much that I want to show you what kind of impression it made on me. So. But of course, this is also a very expensive color, very expensive pigment. But oh well. Daniel Smith is already expensive, but fortunately at my local art stores they sometimes give like 25% discount, so I love checking it there. But take a look. Oh, I put a drop there. Oh well. It's just so beautiful. I feel like it's glowing from the inside, and I'm definitely gonna use it in one of my next paintings. And I don't know, it's just this beautiful mustardy shade. I don't know, I think it is, I think it is just great. So, but I don't know, does it worth the money? I don't know, I guess we will see how much I'll use it in the paintings actually. But let me know what you think. Do you like this color? Do you use it a lot? Do you have it in your palette as a warm yellow? I would be very curious to know. And if you don't and you have some other alternative, because I'm always in search for good, transparent, light, fast, warm yellows, let me know. I'll be very curious to check out. So let me put it here. So the next color is also from the Essentials, and this is Pyrrole Scarlet. And actually, no, this one wasn't part of the Essentials set, but the sorry, Pyrrole Scarlet is one of the essential set colors from Daniel Smith as well. I have already used up the small tube that was there, so this is already from the new tube that I had, but as you can see, it's pretty full because I don't reach out for this color that often, but when I do, it just works anywhere. When you need some kind of warm red, it's beautiful, and it's a standard staple in my palette. The same as Pyrrole Red. I absolutely love Pyrrole Red. I think from reds, the most beautiful color is Pyrrole Red. I don't know, just the shade speaks to me. And I cannot say that I use it very often because I don't often paint, I don't know, tomatoes or cherries or even portraits where I could probably use it. But it just has to be there. These are the two colors that have to be there because I just absolutely love them. But they are pretty full, so they will stay here. And the next color, this is my probably most used color in the whole palette because I just keep buying new tubes over and over again. And as you might have guessed, this is Quinacridone Rose from Daniel Smith. And it's just wonderful. You can mix it with more or less anything, and it just provides great results, and it's transparent and it gives amazing shade. So I tried for a period of time to replace it with Quinacridone Fuchsia from Daniel Smith, but the mixes, they just get a little bit murky. I don't know for the better word of saying it. So let me refill this one. So as you can see from this tube, and I believe this is my second, yeah. So I've used up the small tube from the essential set because it was also there. Then I bought a new tube and I've already used up that one. And so I'm halfway through my second tube. And you know, I don't paint every day, but when I do, this color just gets used so much. Here we go. Absolutely beautiful. And if you saw my other video with the Daniel Smith palette, then you might have noticed that one color is missing, and this is Quinacridone Coral. And I love this color. I think it's beautiful, but I realize that I simply do not reach out often enough to have it in my permanent palette. But if you are into portraits, at least in my personal opinion, I'm not a portrait artist whatsoever, but if you want to add some kind of blush or redness to the face, Quinacridone Coral is your color to go, that's for sure, or at least in my opinion. So the next color, because I use Quinacridone Rose so often, and very often I use it to mix the purples. Right now in my palette I have Imperial Purple. It's a beautiful purple shade. I use it quite often, so I have refilled it already several times. But I'm not gonna lie, I've also purchased Rose of Ultramarine because it's kind of the same mix, while here there is more of Quinacridone Rose, and I really like the shade of this color. So sometimes I am contemplating to replace Imperial Purple with this one, but not quite yet, though I really like this color. For me, Rose of Ultramarine is a color that kind of can paint the whole painting by itself. You know, if you use lots of water and then you just put some paint, it separates so beautifully that you can easily get some, I don't know, abstract landscapes or flowers or shapes just by putting this paint on water. It's exceptionally beautiful, but I'll wait with it for now, and I will leave my Imperial Purple. And I also used Carbazole Violet from Daniel Smith, but I found it to be a little bit too strong. So of course, when I do need very strong purple and I want a really dark and juicy purple background, I go with that one. So I do use it very often. But actually carbazole violet, I think I said carbazole purple. Oh well. So I do use it quite often. You see I squished out quite a bit, squeezed quite a bit of it, but Imperial Purple is the one that stays on my palette for now. And then the other color that I have here is Payne's Gray, and I kind of have love-hate relationship with Payne's Gray because on one hand I do reach out very often to it. It's amazing for painting moody skies, for example, and it works in that case, but sometimes I'm tempted to use it for shadows and it starts granulate and the black becomes very obvious, which I do not like. To be honest, I'm generally not very much into granulating colors. I like clean, transparent colors that I can glaze and play around with. So it stays in my palette for now, but we'll see how it goes. So the next color, this color is my favorite blue. And before I tell you what color this is, let me tell you which color I do not like. And this is ultramarine blue. And I know it's weird, everybody loves ultramarine blue, everybody uses ultramarine blue, but I simply do not like the shade of ultramarine blue. I don't know, something is wrong with me, I guess, but I don't like ultramarine blue. So when I tried cobalt blue, I understood that this is the one. This is the perfect color of a bright blue sky for me. It's amazing in mixes, and yeah, this is the color to go. I would love to be a fan of ultramarine. I really tried, believe you me. I would be putting it into my palette and then taking it out and then putting it in again, but no, for me this is the color to go. And now I already, you see, squeezed quite a lot from it and I reached the bottom pretty quickly, so now I need to fill it up again. Absolutely beautiful color, beautiful consistency. I like it very much. So the next color is phthalo turquoise. And you know what? I'm not gonna swatch it right now. I'll just tell you about all my colors and then I'll make a swatching in the end. But I decided to go for phthalo turquoise because I was actually recommended it by some of my wonderful viewers. So thank you so much. I really do my best to read all of your comments. And believe you me, I check out everything what you recommend or suggest me, and you give me so many wonderful advice that I'm really happy about it, because in my surrounding I don't have that many people who paint. I do have some, but this is just, you know, my way to join the community and to discuss which color is good or bad. And yeah, anyway, you make me very happy. So I decided to add a phthalo turquoise. I quite like it. I haven't used it that much yet, but it's there and we'll see how it goes. I believe I had phthalo green as well for mixing, but I decided to remove it because I never really reached out to it. So let's see how it goes with phthalo turquoise. The next color that I have is Indian Throne blue, and this is my other favorite blue. I think if water had a color, I mean, I know it doesn't, but you know, when I think of water, and if water had a color, it would have had the color of Indian Throne blue. I don't know, is it weird? Do you have this type of associations with the colors? If you do, then please let me know in the comments down below so that I know it's not just me. But it's beautiful. I think it's more or less in my every watercolor palette because I just can't be without it. It's a wonderful shade, absolutely gorgeous. And then the next color that I absolutely love is Perlin Green, which definitely needs to be refilled. So just a second, I actually need to find a tube for Perlin Green. Here it is. And as you can see, I use it a lot. So I'm about to finish this tube and I don't have a new tube, but it's okay. What I can say about perylene green though, that for example, I do have one from Schminke, and I do find it quite similar to this one. So if anything, I can mix them up. I know, might be not too good, I don't know. But I do it sometimes if I find that the colors are quite close and I don't have it in my budget to buy a tube of new color from the same brand, then I just use another brand, because why not? Not that Schminke is cheaper or much cheaper, but I just have it at the moment. So. Then the next color, and this color is the only one that has light fastness 2 in my palette, but I realized that I really want to have it and I couldn't find the alternative. And this is the green gold, and I got it as part of the set from Stella Canfield. And if you're curious about that set, because it doesn't seem that people talk about it that often, then you can check it. Yeah, I will leave the link here in the corner or somewhere down below in the description, because the selection of colors that she chose is actually quite nice. I mean, they're not the colors that would go to the basic palette, but if you want something extra, you know, some oomph in your palette, then I would highly recommend to choose some of the colors from her palette. And one of the colors was green gold, and I was sure that I will not use it that much because it has light fastness too, but you know, I decided 70 or 100 years, it's still pretty close. And many things still depend on how you store your watercolor paintings, and you know, maybe I'll decide to make a print if I like something very much, but it's just so beautiful that I decided to have it. And let me refill it now. Yeah, let me show it closer maybe. It's beautiful. Just looking at it increases my mood and makes me want to paint. Is it weird? So let me put it in here for now. I don't think it really needs any mixing. Well, maybe a little bit. And I used not to mix my pans, but then I realized that's not a good practice. It's better to mix them. So the next color that I have, which I love very much, but which I'm going to replace anyway. But so this color right here, and as you can see, I did use it a lot. And this is the Upside Genuine. And this is one of Daniel Smith's Primatech colors. And I actually think that this is one of the most undervalued colors from Daniel Smith, because if you want a green with a wide range of mixing possibilities, then I would say this is the one. It's so good. You can mix it with any yellow, you can mix it with quinacridone rose to get a very nice moody purple. It's absolutely beautiful and I like it. But I have decided to replace it nonetheless, and that is simply because I'm very curious about this cascade green, and I don't know how it's gonna go, and I'm gonna do a bad practice, so to say. You can see I still have the leftovers from the Upside green, no, the Upside Genuine, sorry, but I'll just pour cascade green in it because sometimes I do it, okay, I just don't feel like spending the full pan, and then I'll see how it goes with cascade green, and if I don't like it and it doesn't work out with me, then I return to using it for the Upside Genuine. And if I do, then oh well, it will become a cascade green pen, because they are, well, they're not close, you can see the difference, but so to say, this green serve the same purpose for me in a way. That's why I'm gonna put this one in this one. Yeah, it's very beautiful. why I also put it in the same is actually because green is the color that I rarely use on its own. I always mix it with something. Anyway, and this is also how you get some unique shades of color, so I think it's okay. If that's the color that you're mixing a lot, then who says that it has to be the way it is? So let me put it here. And by the way, if you're worried that I would forget what color it is in there, I most likely not. I usually remember all my shades of colors, at least so far, and I use my Daniel Smith palette a lot, so I know all the colors. And even though I just said that I rarely use a green on its own, the next color is actually the one that, okay, I'm not gonna take it out, but this is the color that I often use on its own as a green, and this is Green Apatite Genuine. I think everybody already knows Green Apatite Genuine. It's perfect for landscapes, granulates in a beautiful way that I like, because I don't always like it, like I said. But this is a wonderful color. It's a new addition to my palette. I used to have Sap Green. Here it is. And yeah, as you can see, I used a lot of it, but somehow it just doesn't always look natural to me. That's why I decided to replace it with other greens, and Green Apatite Genuine is one of them. It's beautiful and I love it. And then the next color, and please don't be upset with me, because I know I said this is my universal Daniel Smith palette, but there is one color that's not from Daniel Smith, and this is this one. This is Naples Yellow from White Nights, but it has such a beautiful shade. If, for example, you want to paint a sunrise sky and you don't want to mix it too much with the blue to give green, then this is the color. I absolutely love it. I tried to compare it with Naples Yellow from Daniel Smith so that it is like purely Daniel Smith palette, but it just doesn't work for me. This one is the one. And I thought maybe to try Buff Titanium, because many love Buff Titanium, but it's just completely different from what I expect. So I don't know, could you recommend anything to me that has a kind of a similar shade to Naples Yellow? And I will swatch it in the end so you can see how it looks, because yeah, I would love to have something from Daniel Smith, but on the other hand, this is such a beautiful color and so much cheaper than Daniel Smith that I love it. I have a tube of it and I use it a lot, and it's wonderful. And then the next color that I have in my palette is a transparent red oxide. Beautiful color. I can't say I reach out that often to it, but if you need to paint a sand or to add some granulation, I think it's just incredible, and yeah, it just works for me. And then the last but not the least, a boring, I suppose, burnt umber, because I needed to have some kind of strong brown in my palette, as I realized. And sometimes I interswitch it with burnt sienna. I mean, they're not the same, but sometimes I have one over the other, so we'll see how it goes. That's not my staple at the moment. It is there, but the same as Payne's Gray, I feel like in the future they will change. And then you might be asking me, what's this weird dot in my palette? Well, you know what? Just a second, I'll show you the tube. It's actually from Schminke. It's this Shire Olive from their Super Granulating series. And I put it there because I wanted just to try and, you know, to mix with different colors. First of all, I absolutely hate it. I'm so sorry, because it's so pale. Like, I can't get enough of pigment, and now it got hardened like a rock, and no matter what I do, I cannot remove it. So if you know how I can remove it from my palette, please tell me. But for me, this was money wasted, to be honest. I don't see myself using it ever. I would also like to tell you about two more colors that I removed from my initial selection for this palette. And the first color is Moonglow. It's beautiful and I like it, but I did do a light fast test with Moonglow, and it changes the shade on the light, even though I don't really have much sun here, but it does change its shade, and for me it's a no-go. I want to know that I trust my paint. I would rather know that it won't serve for as long as Green Gold, for example, but it would keep the same shade. But Moonglow, it changes the color, so it's a bit of a bummer, even though I love the color on its own. And then another color that I have removed from my palette is Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine, another Primatech color. It has absolutely beautiful shade and it's beautiful in any single way, but it's really difficult to re-wet when it is in a pen. It's the same situation as with Aussie Red Gold. It dries quite hard and you really need to work to get the pigment out. So even though I removed it, I still love it. And yeah, if I have a situation where I need to use it, I would use it. It's just not part of my permanent palette. It's just something what I would use straight from the tube. And so this is the finished palette, and I call it Universal Daniel Smith palette because I do believe that it allows to paint a very wide variety of subjects, whether it is a landscape, florals, and I think it would work even for portraits as well. And so far I'm very happy with my color selection. Even just looking at them makes me feel like I want to paint. So let me swatch them for you. And I'm not going to make a traditional swatch card because I know these colors already pretty well, even though some of them are new for me, but I know the shade that they give so far. So for me, it's actually the mixes that I would need to learn better. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use this leftover piece of paper, I believe. This was just the last sheet on my Fabriano 25% cotton pad that I love very much. So I'll just do it right here. So to remind you, this is quinacridone gold. And yes, I know it's not dry yet, but it is fine. I'm not that precious with my paints anymore, at least. Paints are meant to be dirty and in use. So the next one is a Hansa Yellow Medium, and it might give slight green shade, as you can see, because I mix it mostly with green. But that is just a nice, cool mix in yellow. The New Gamboge. It's just so beautiful. It flows so nice. Beautiful color. And I have already swatched, sorry, not quinacridone gold. I have already swatched Indian yellow, so I'm not gonna do it again, but this is the color. So the next one is Spiral Scarlet. It's just beautiful. It works with any green if you're painting any florals. Spiral Red. Oh, look at this. Look at that thread. This is perfect thread. For me, this is perfect thread. Even though I don't reach out for that often, but I can't imagine myself refusing from Spiral Red. Then quinacridone Rose. Very, very beautiful color. Imperial Purple. Payne's Gray. I'll try to squeeze in the colors a little bit. I can see I might not have enough space. Very beautiful. Perfect moody sky color. Then Cobalt Blue. Look at this. Isn't this the most gorgeous blue? When I paint with Cobalt Blue, I think about Studio Ghibli cartoons, the ones that Hayao Miyazaki made. And at least in my imagination, this is the sky from their cartoons. This is the color of the sky. Phthalo turquoise. No, now it's floating. Oh, well, perfectly fine. Indanthrone blue. Oh, look how gorgeous this is. No, seriously. This is the color of the water. I do not know why I'm saying this, but this is how it's recorded in my mind. Perfect color of the water is indanthrone blue. I love how it all floats together and mixes and just, wonderful. Then perylene green. Based on the black pigment, as you know, but perfect moody green, and then imagine using it with paints gray. Ooh, exciting. So now green gold. Look at that. And as far as I remember, it has nickel azo yellow as one of the pigments. Might be wrong, but I do think it's the case. So this is why it pushes out other colors so much. And I think it is a wonderful quality that you can use in many paintings. Or at least I like using it a lot. So the next one is Cascade Green. Very nice. Though here I got it mixed up accidentally with the green gold, but very often I would use them together in one painting because I really use many shades of green, so I need to have many convenience green colors. Green Apatite Genuine. Oh, look at that. This is perfect green for me. This is absolutely perfect green that you can use in the landscapes. At the end of the day, for me, sap green is a bit unnatural color. Not that I paint necessarily very natural landscapes. I actually have a tendency to use very bright colors. Oh, interesting. Look at this Cascade Green, how it separates to this blue and green. Oh, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Wow. Wow. I must say it looks much more impressive in person than when I was checking it out online. And now Naples Yellow from White Nights. Absolutely beautiful shade. I don't know, it's just perfect for me. It's not too warm, not too cool, so it's quite neutral, and it's perfect for the morning sky. Now transparent red oxide. Beautiful. Just letting them mix together. I don't know, I like when paints flow into each other because I rarely make harsh lines in my paintings. And burnt umber. Nice brown, that's all I can say. I'm generally not very excited about browns or by brown colors, but as soon as I exclude them from my palette, then right away an occasion comes up and I need a good brown color. So I've kind of accepted it, decided that they might as well stay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I just like when colors flow into each other. Anyway, I have to stop, otherwise I'll just make a very big mess here to see what mixes well with what. But these are the colors that I have included in my palette. Let me show them closer. I'm very excited about the range that I have included, especially my greens, because I love greens. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. And look, when cobalt blue has dried, it's just so beautiful, such a beautiful shade. So yeah, I find this very inspirational. Now that I swatched them out again, I really want to sit and paint and yeah, come up with something nice and beautiful. And if you want to see me paint something using this palette, then make sure that you subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for my next video, because I think I'm going to paint something for the next time using this palette, so you can see how the colors actually work together in practice. But yeah, so far, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me till the end. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see the original selection for my Daniel Smith palette, then make sure to watch the video that will be in the end of this one. But other than that, thank you once again, and stay tuned for my next video. Bye!